It's become so much easier to write code with AI. The more we use AI for that, the worse we get at that. We can't just remove those things, and that is working with AI.
Welcome to the Willpower Podcast.
Let's get right into it. So, first solo episode in a couple weeks. Had 2 guests, I think, were the last 2 episodes, and we're going to have a lot more guests on. But here's a solo episode for the time being. My goal with this podcast is to start moving back to guests, having guests regularly, and then solo episodes maybe once a month or so, out of the 4-ish episodes that we do every month. So we'll see. We're also posting more on Instagram and TikTok and doing shorts and stuff. So we'll see if we're able to grow it a little bit and spread the word of willpower, spread the word of good living, help more people get that spark of inspiration, that spark of motivation to just live a little bit better, live a little bit more in the way that feels good and is what we truly want. First, let's talk about overwhelm. So I've been suffering from overwhelm in the past few weeks, and suffering is, of course, a strong word for it, but it is definitely something I've noticed where I am, feel like there's a million things I have to do. Certain things seem like momentous, like too big to even accomplish or to get out of the way. And in the past, what's often happened with these kinds of things is they just build up, and I end up with a to-do list, quote unquote, even though it's not on an actual list, it's just in my head. I have like 50 things that I need to get done that have not been done, and they just build up, and they end up hurting me, costing me in the long run, even when I'm not doing them. So one of the simplest examples is like my utility bill, my gas bill. I have been terrible about paying it on time. And for whatever reason, it grows into this thing that I don't want to do it. It's for some reason, it seems like a difficult thing to do, even though it's so simple. It's as simple as logging onto a website, clicking like 3 buttons, being done with it. For whatever reason, that is something that just grows, and it's like, okay, I got to pay my utility bill, but they won't penalize me if I don't pay it on time. And so then I don't pay it right away because it doesn't seem that important to do on that day. And then the next day comes by, and it's like, I forget about it. Then I get a letter in the mail that's like, oh, you gotta pay this. And then at that point, it becomes like a stressful thing that if I don't get it out of the way, it's just going to continue to ride on me and wear on me just a little bit every moment. And every time I think about it, it's like a stress, like jolt of stress. There's a million things like this where it's like, I have to do this thing and I keep forgetting to do it. It's not that hard, but every time I think about it, it's not the time to do it. That's like classic overwhelm. There's just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of little things that have to be done. And because every time you don't do them because it's not the right time, and then you forget when it is the right time, you are just being hit by 50 little things, 50 little stressors at every moment that then make doing anything difficult. And then there's more resistance to each one of those because it seems much bigger than it is because it's been stressing you out. It's like, oh, this utility bill has been stressing me out so much. It must be a challenging thing to do. It's not, but just the fact that it's been stressing me out tricks my brain into believing that this is a hard thing to do. So that's the problem. What do we do about it? This is like the simplest, stupidest thing ever, but it's been working miracles for me. And that is just simply a to-do list that I keep with me at all times. All times is a little bit of an overstatement. There are times where I go do something and I don't have my to-do list with me at jujitsu or going for a run or whatever, or meeting up with a friend. But I do have it when I'm working. I just have it with me. It's next to me. And anytime that I think of something that it's not the time to do it, so we'll go back to the utility bill again. I think about it. I'm in the middle of something. It goes on the list. I give it a checkbox, write out, pay utilities. That's it. Every day also, I make a new list. No matter what, even if there's stuff on the old list, I'm not going to go back to that list. That list is done. Make a new list, and that thing goes on there. And then I know today I'm going to see this list. Later, when it's the right time, I'm going to try to check things off this list. But for right now, I'm focused on something else, probably another item on this list. And this does something really crazy. Really, again, it's simple and it's stupid, but weirdly, it works so well. It takes that thing off of my plate. That is no longer a me problem. That is a list thing. Later, I'm going to do that thing. It completely changes the nature of how I think of the thing. So utilities is now no longer this big thing that's like, I have to do this thing. I don't want to do it because it's associated now with a reward. And when I'm looking at my to-do list now, I get the satisfaction of checking off something, of like trying to get through the entire list. When I get through the list, I feel like, fuck, I made it through the day with like everything I needed to get done is done. And that makes it, like, when I am looking at the list and trying to get things off, I am looking for what's the easiest one. What's something I can do like right now that's just gonna check, like, what can I knock off? And I see that utility thing and I'm like, dude, that's fucking easy. That's like nothing. And so this thing that used to be this huge resistance, like, I don't want to do this. This must suck. It's been stressing me out for weeks. Now I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is the easiest thing I can do on this list. Let me just do it right now. Let me like fucking log onto the portal and pay it immediately. And it's over. And that's what the to-do list does, is it just like completely flips the way that I see my tasks and the things that I want to get done. And they stop being these huge, like scary things, and they start being little like rewards, little like, how can I get this done? And like they become real, and it becomes like a problem that's like to solve, not just a problem that just exists. And that's huge. That's like such a game changer for me. Again, it's silly, it's stupid, it's fucking amazing. Another tip for to-do lists that I've found is a few things. First is like add as many items as you can. And that doesn't mean add new stuff that like is going to be hard to do, that you can't fit. I'm not saying to fit more things into your day. That might naturally happen, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is add stuff that doesn't even like really, it's not like a huge task. It's just like something you're going to do. So like walking my dog, I'll put that on there. Walk Reba, I'll put it maybe twice, maybe 3 times. That goes on there. Meal prep, put that on there. Play piano, put that on there. Like any little thing that I was already going to do, I'm going to put on the to-do list, because each of those is a chance to build up momentum. And the to-do list is much more satisfying and much easier to do when I am checking things off. So put a lot of things on there that are not too challenging, that are easy enough to get done. Another one is the putting things that are already done. And I learned this from a mentor a few months ago. Like, start with a few things that you've already done, especially if you're not in the habit of doing to-do lists every day. Like, maybe it's midday and you're like, okay, I got a bunch of stuff I got to get done. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, okay, these are the things that have been stressing me out that I would like to just get out of the way today. Don't start with those. Write down like 4 or 5 things that you already did today that would have been on your list if you had made it in the morning. Start with that, then add the new ones. And that, again, same idea. It's just like changes the way that your brain sees these things. And you recognize like, okay, I've already been doing all this shit. Like I've already have momentum going. It's not like I'm starting with this empty list of like all these huge things that I have to do. It's like, no, I already fucking knocked out a bunch of these. And I'm just adding on to that list now. I'm just building up on what I've already done. And so that makes it so much easier to continue, so much easier to, be picking out those things, because you already have this momentum going. You're like, okay, I already see I'm like a third of the way done. What can I add on? What can I pick out to add on to my momentum? And yeah, man, it changes everything. Make sure that you're like checking off the items. Like there has to be some kind of satisfying way of either cross them out, or for me, I just draw a box for each item. And then when I do it, I check it. For me, paper works the best. I don't know why, but having it in like a notebook rather than having it on a phone or a computer, like a web app or something, the phone it just doesn't do it. The paper, I can carry it with me everywhere. That's not distracting. There's nothing else on it. It's for that only one purpose. So that's huge. And it helps a shit ton. So to-do lists for Overwhelm is like, again, it's like the silliest thing. It's like when I made last year, I was like, oh, I have this like paper habit tracker where I just check off my habits. And that helps me so much. It's like, yeah, these like super simple things, these solutions that are already existing. We don't need to reinvent them. We just need to rediscover them. And for me, that's been the to-do list, has been rediscovering how to actually use it in my life. And now it has changed the way that I see big tasks. At my rental house, there are like a bunch of things that I am trying to improve about it. Additions I'm making, improvements, like I said, all these kinds of things. And in the past, that would have just seemed like, okay, that's just too big of a task to even think about. Like, how am I going to hold this all in my head at one time and figure out what to do? Now it's like, oh, I believe I can do it, just purely on the fact that I know I can break it down and check off every step along the way. So not only has it made me, it's not like it's like, oh, I'm just more productive now. It's literally like, oh, it changes the way that I see things that I have to do because now they seem doable. By the way, that's the thing. Any productivity, any motivation, any inspiration, the thing that is being sold when, let's say I watch a YouTube video that is amping me up. The reason I'm amped up is because it's doable. It seems doable. Like lose 20 pounds in 3 months. The only reason people want that short time frame is because they're like, okay, I'll actually do it. If you could sell something that was like lose 20 pounds in a year and people knew that it would actually work, they're going to do it. They will still do that. But the reason is the 3-month thing seems more doable because it's like, okay, I can compress that time. I can imagine that amount of time. So all motivation, inspiration, all that kind of content that you see online, the reason it works is because it seems doable. And so as soon as you find something that actually works, like for me, this to-do list thing, that's that exact same thing in a bottle for me. It's like, oh shit, this actually works. This thing that it's fucking to-do list. It's nothing special. This thing I've heard about, I've tried before, everyone knows about actually is working. That's worth more than any piece of inspiration or motivation. And that's the same thing. So that's awesome. Awesome to reframe how I see big tasks and scary things. It's like, oh, I can just check this off. I can just rethink this and actually do it. And it's actually doable. Now I'm going to go to another area of doability for me, something that's reframed how I see tasks, but maybe gone too far. And that is working with AI. So using AI to do work. So for me as an engineer, and for most people nowadays who are doing any kind of like entrepreneurship or like just building stuff, like it's become so much easier to write code with AI that, I mean, you don't need to know anything about code. Having some idea of how it works is obviously beneficial, so that you can at least give your AI agents like a good start, or at least you have an idea of like, okay, this is how it should probably go, or this is something I could do versus something that doesn't make sense to do. But it's available for everybody now. What that means is I can do like 6 different things all at once and do them fairly well. Like they can actually get done. Like never before was that possible that you could like work on 6 different projects that involve like intense code and testing and have them all running at the same time. That's never even made sense in the past. Now it's possible. And I've noticed something, which is a deterioration of my ability to focus on one thing at a time and my ability to sit still and just be doing nothing or doing one thing at a time outside of work. And I realized that lately work has become extremely stimulating for these reasons and extremely like fun. And it's fun in a way that's like, there's like a million things coming at me and it's like, oh, build this thing, boom, build this thing, boom, this thing, go. And then I check on them and like, oh, it worked. Oh, this one didn't work. And I fix it. I tell them how to fix it. I end up with all these different inputs that are extremely exciting and it's too much. It's too fun. It's like there's a point where the friction, and I just wrote about this, the friction of like that struggle, the thing that I have to push through to get to the end is getting lesser and lesser. And so I'm just getting all of the fun stuff and none of the hard work that it takes to get the fun stuff. And I think there's something similar to the realization about social media and the harms of social media and how we can't just get the benefits of like social connection without the difficulty and the struggle and the potential anxiety, the potential embarrassment that comes with social connection. We can't just remove those things and we can't just make it super easy without there being some kind of drawback. Or we can't just have unlimited entertainment and expect that we're just going to be happy with it, because there has to be some kind of work to get to that point. And I think we're getting to that point with AI work and overstimulation when it comes to work, which is like we are becoming kind of gods of creation, where you can just explain something that you want to exist and basically have it exist within maybe a few prompts, like a few extra prompts it might take, but you can basically command things into existence in a way that has never been possible before. And outside of the efficacy of that, like, okay, yes, maybe we get more cool stuff and we get to be able to build more stuff. There's an argument to be made there, of course. It's an argument. It's not 100% sure, but it's like, what does that do to the person making the stuff? What's the difference there? And so there's like I haven't acted in this way at all, but there is a hesitancy to dive into AI tools. I have not had any hesitancy. I've gone 100% in. So I'm not preaching. I'm just here saying there's something to be wary of, and it may be smart of us to be careful and to recognize that this is going to have effects on our brains and on our well-being in ways that we might not be aware of at this point going in. And it seems like a clear decision, a high ROI, but there are ways to work that don't involve it in quite the same way. And this is not at all to say don't use AI. Like I said, I use AI for all my work, and it's an incredible tool. But there are certain ways to use it that seem harmful, and there are other ways that seem less harmful. A full AI workflow, like working where, okay, I'm coming up with a plan. Okay, I talk to ChatGPT. I want to do this thing. That's what I want. How do I do it? ChatGPT gives me like a clear ordered list. ChatGPT gives me a prompt for I put it into Claude Code, then writes up this project and starts doing it. I like give it some feedback. I'm working on another project at the same time, just talking with AI this entire time. There's something like harmful about this, I think. And I think there might be benefits to working without AI for some time, like having structured time that does not involve going back and forth with AI, because it removes this friction point, which is like the moment where you have to sit with like no ideas and wait for one to come. It's like, oh, I have this thing I want to do. How do I do it? And then you sit there for a second. It's kind of painful because you're like, oh, I want to do this thing, but I just have no idea how. And then you get an idea. You think, okay, this is a way I could do it. And then maybe you write that down, and then you go from there and you keep building on that thing. And you end up with this satisfying like thought process where you take an idea and you see how can it come into reality. And that's, again, it's a challenging, and there's like painful moments in there where you have to sit with not knowing. And ChatGPT will alleviate that pain immediately because you just put it in there. It will give you every way to do it, but you're not going to be nearly as satisfied with that. And you're not going to be, it's going to hurt. It's going to cause harm to us. The more that we avoid doing these things, doing these painful things that cause a little bit of friction. And it's also going to make us dumber, I believe. I think that's pretty non-controversial to say. The more that we depend on AI to do like this simple thinking stuff, like sitting with zero idea and coming up with an idea, the more we use AI for that, the worse we get at that. And not just the worse, but the less willing we become to go into that friction and go into that scary place. So that's also something to be wary of. This is not at all doom and gloom, by the way. This is like, I believe there's so much to be done with AI. I think there's a place to be really utilizing AI in a way that's super powerful and super beneficial and super helpful. There's ways that we can use AI to actually help ourselves, help our lives. I just don't think that always turning to ChatGPT and asking it to help us think, that's not the way. And having 6 Claude Code chats open, working on different projects and bouncing between each one and getting the dopamine hit when each one works without really putting in much work, that's not it. That's not the way AI is going to help us in the long run. So I'm trying to think through the ways that AI will actually help, and it's not the ways that are going to be the most fun initially. It's the same as social media. Like, we've seen that. When we lean on our impulses, it does not go well. When we let our impulses do everything for us, we end up with diabetes, and we end up with porn addiction, and we end up with screen addiction. Like, it doesn't go well. So being more careful, thinking about how AI can actually help us without just fully depending on ChatGPT for writing every email, writing every text message, every difficult text message, it's not the way. So hopefully I've convinced you to at least take some time off in your day. I think that's honestly the most powerful way that we can go about this, is schedule time without AI. And what I like to do is like blank Google Doc and just like, okay, let's just think. Let's like, where are we at? What's something I'm working on? Where do I want to go from here? And just write out your plan. Write out every idea that comes. See where you get with that. And then figure out where AI fits into that. How is AI going to help me do these things? Not how is AI going to be a crutch for my thinking and for me coming up with ideas, but how is AI going to be a tool within this thing that I'm trying to accomplish? Yeah, be careful. Be careful out there. It's, I'm falling into it too. This is almost more words for myself than for anybody else. Yeah. And I've noticed it comes up in other parts of my life. Like when I'm working this way, which I have been the past few weeks, where it's this constant stimulation, constantly bots are doing stuff for me. It makes other things, like I check my phone more. I'm more like, meditating is harder. I notice that. Like caffeine, I want more caffeine. I'm eating worse. All these things are just tying back to work, which is where I spend a lot of my time. And if I'm training my brain to be constantly stimulated at work, then it's like, oh, when I'm off work, it doesn't just go away. I'm going to want it there too. So, and the one other thing about working is it's nefarious. The nefarious thing about it is it seems good. Like any work that I'm doing, no matter how I'm doing it, it's like there's always the out of like, oh, but I'm being productive, getting things done. So however I'm doing it is like, that doesn't matter. It's like, oh yeah, I'm training my brain in a weird way, but like I'm getting stuff done. So it's like inherently good. That's kind of, how a lot of people think. That's how I think. But yeah, there's definitely harm in it that we might not know right now. So I think there's a lot that we can do with AI. I think we have to be careful with how we're using it. Just on a personal level, this has nothing to do with any other AI fears. Those can be existing and whatever, but I'm not talking about those. I'm just talking about personal use, how it trains the brain, and how it changes the way that we see problems and interface with the world. So take that how you will. This month, I'm still trying to drink a gallon of water every day. I think I've fallen off a little bit this week. Things have been a little bit hectic, but hoping to get back to it. So prioritize hydration. Don't forget about that when you're, doing your Claude Code to take care of your physical body. And yeah, that's all we got for today. Bye, everybody.